as well. Okay, you need to know how to do what you're about to learn here. So page 18, okay? Calculating the mean and the standard deviation if you have a frequency table. What is a frequency table? Let's make sure you understand. A frequency table usually has two columns or two rows. Okay? And so that's something that you want to remember. So when you're presented with a frequency table, when you're given a frequency table, you do not know the individual data points, right? We don't know that. In such cases, we simply go calculate the midpoints. So I'll just change colors here. We're going to calculate the midpoints, put the midpoints into L1, and the frequency into L2. And here's the biggest kicker, step 3. We used to do one variable stats and just go L1. Now we're going to have one variable stats L1, comma L2. L2 indicates the number of values in that interval. Okay. And I'm going to compare and contrast the two scenarios, okay? Here it is. This one you already know how to do. So let's say the following table shows the weekly salaries at a company, company A. So you just have them individually mentioned, okay? All salaries provided individually. You got to make sure you understand that, okay? We know how to do that. So I think I'm going to skip the actually showing you how to do it because you already know how to do it. So you go one variable stats. You just put all of this, right? All of this gets put into L1. And then we just do our one variable stats, and we determine the mean salary. Remember units, right? It's in dollars. So this is our average. This is the average salary, weekly salary for this company, company A. The standard deviation is 914 and 22 cents. N, in this case, is 16 employees, okay? 16 employees have been considered. Now, this is the new part, right? This is what I'm about to show you here that you need to take into account. Okay? This is the frequency table, okay? Write it down so it stands out. Frequency table. Calculate the mean, standard deviation, and range for the salaries. How many employees work for this company? So this is where you don't have the individual salaries, okay? Note, no individual salaries. Okay? We simply bunch them up. So people making between $2,000 and $2,500 a week, there's 2 employees that make that much. But we don't know how much they make individually. Like these 2 individuals, we don't know what theirs is exactly. We just know it's between here and here. Same here, between $2,500 and $3,005. So this is what we call a frequency table. If you have that, you need to create the midpoints. You need to add basically a column here. Add this, okay? And so basically what you do is you go this plus that divided by 2. Like you're going to figure out halfway between. So you grab, I think everybody would understand that this is 2250. Like 2250 is exactly between. But I will give you a formula here real quick. Midpoints is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. What does this remind you of? Axis of symmetry. Do you remember that? You're adding 2 points and you're dividing it by 2. That's worth highlighting. Okay? So we're doing that for every single one of these categories. So you're basically gonna go 2,000 plus 2,500. Just make sure you hit enter before you divide. Otherwise, it's not gonna be right. So it's 2,250, right? You do the same thing for the other one. Okay, 2,500 plus 3,000 divided by 2, 2,750. So we're finding the middle between this, and so this is 3,250, this is 3,750, and this is 4,250. Wow, my alignment is not the greatest, eh? That's okay. And so this is how this is different. These are not individual salaries, guys. These are not. We just found the average. So we put this into L1, and we put this, like the number of employees, this is the frequency. We put this into L2. Frequency is how often does that happen, okay? This is the frequency right here. How frequent is it? How often does that happen, that someone has a salary between 3,000 and 3,500? It happens 12 times, right? So in this case, you can't just go one variable stats L1. You have to go L1 comma L2. Okay? You have to. That is important. So let's do that. I'm going to clear this. We're going to go stat edit. And so it's 2, 5, 12, 5, 1. How many salaries are we considering in this particular case? Let's add this up real quick. 2 and 5 is 7 and 12 is 19. This is 20, 25, right? So 25 employees that we're considering. Okay, so that's something that should stand out to you. So let's calculate this. Stat, calculate one variable stats. It's always one variable stats. You go L1, comma L2, because this is a frequency table. You hit enter. Look at the first thing I want you to look at is this. What is N? 25. And we realize that we have 25 employees, right? So what is my average for this company? We have 3210, and my standard deviation is 467.97. No, sorry, I missed, I looked at the wrong line. It's 467.33, my bad. If you wanted to do the range, I know I asked you for it. The range is max minus min, which is $2,000. Okay, there's a range of $2,000. I don't think I gave you the range for the first one. Okay. Common mistake. Students do the midpoint, beautiful, but then they do the stat calc they just go L1, and they're like, oh, my average is 3250, 707, and then do you notice this? How many salaries have you considered if you only type in L1? It's as if there's only 5 people working for this company, right? Because it literally just counts these 5, and that's it. So that's how you know that something went wrong. So you need to redo it. Make sure you feed it L2. Oops. Right? Once you feed it L2, you see N5. It understands, the calculator understands, oh, okay, you're giving me the salary, the midpoint, and you're telling me how often that happens. Okay, so the calculator knows what's happening here. Which company is more consistent when it comes to their salaries? Which one is more consistent? This one or this one? This one, right? Lower standard deviation. But you might look at their average and be like, oh, look, this company pays more on average than this one. Yes, but it could be that this number here includes like the top CEO, right? Making a lot of money, bringing your average up. But in general, most points are not going to be close to that, okay? All right, so for your homework, I'm going to ask you to do (19 to 23). And I know what you're thinking. That's a lot. That's a lot of pages, Mr. Erickson. Like, are you saying all of that? Let me explain a little bit. I don't want you to do any graphs. Okay, graphing, we'll do that tomorrow. So for example, follow me to page 19. This you already know how to do. Find the meanest standard deviation for the 2 chemistry classes, right? Then I want you to do, listen carefully, I want you to do this by hand. Find the mean and the standard deviation by hand. If you forgot how to do it, I've got a QR code. I've got you covered, okay? So if you completely draw blank, the QR code shows you how to do it one more time. Go to page 10 if you don't want to watch my video. Okay, if you don't want to fall asleep, go page 10. Let's go to page 20. There's 2 bowling leagues. There's the bowling scores for this league, mean standard deviation. All this goes into L1. Voila, you got your mean and standard deviation. However, this one right here, what does this look like? A frequency table. You have to find the midpoints, right? For every interval, you have to find the midpoint right here. You're going to put that into your L1, and you're going to put the frequency into your L2. And then you find the mean, standard deviation, all of that, okay? B, you can also do, because you're comparing, using your own words, you're comparing bowling leagues. You're comparing one to the other. Same with the test scores. When it says create a histogram frequency polygon, do not graph, okay? I will show you that tomorrow. You don't have to graph. I just want you to learn how to do frequency tables, how to explain the difference, which one is more consistent, and so forth. Page 21. Again, this is a very good page 21 will require you to explain using stats terminology. I know you're probably thinking, I'm going to avoid that like a plague. Like I don't like writing about this. Just try it. Just try it. I don't care if you get it wrong right now, but just give it a try. Give it an honest try. Look at your study sheet, okay? 21. This is exactly the same scenario that we talked about today with those basketball players, right? The 5 players we compared in the homework. You do that one more time, okay? If you get to 21, I will be happy. 22 and 23, even happier, right? But let's do at least something, okay? All right. That's it for me today, guys. You've got the rest of the class to